What's good, people? Tuesday morning, day after Brett Brown's been relieved of his duties. Just watching some ESPN in the morning. You know how it is. Watching First Take, what everybody got to say and all that kind of stuff. And of course, everybody jumping on Brett Brown and believe understandably so. But what I saw was a video or an interview on Get Up this morning, where Bruce Bowen was on there, and he was asking him about what he thought. And Bruce Bowen, though he says some stuff that is probably true, he's clearly just a Brett Brown friend, and he puts all the blame on Joel Embiid. And I felt like that was very disingenuous. You also had Tim Legler on there, who I think was more unbiased and was given the type of opinion in which I appreciated. Bruce Bowen, first of all, for Brett Brown to invite you to come speak to Joel Embiid and the team is cool, but at the same time, Bruce Bowen, you're not the level of player that is going to garner enough respect from Joel Embiid to where he's even going to listen to what you're saying. Right? And I believe this was weak on the part of Brett Brown. Whether Brett Brown intended to do that, and he had to understand what type of guy you're bringing in. When you know somebody, you know what type of advice that person is going to give, right? So Brett Brown should have been saying this shit. If he felt this way about Joel Embiid, he should have been saying this shit himself. And it's likely that if Bruce Bowen was saying too many things that were true about Embiid, it's likely that Brett Brown had these conversations with Bruce Bowen prior, and Bruce Bowen was taking that information that Brett Brown gave him and was just spilling it to Joel Embiid in front of everybody. So it's two mistakes that Bruce Bowen made. If you want to give advice, if you want your advice to be accepted as sincere, you should, number one, pull a guy to the side. Speak to him. Don't try to play him in front of the team, because whether or not you approve of Joel Embiid's leadership style or not, or whether or not he's a leader or whatever, you got to respect the fact that in the particular team structure of the Sixers, he is a leader. So you don't go and just play him in front of everybody like that, saying things about, tweets and being on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, because that's what he does, right? Or anything about conditioning. And no, just pull him to the side if you're sincere and say that stuff to him. You'll have a much better reception. But when you go out there and you're saying things that you probably got from the coach, from Brett Brown, because he's too pussy to just straight say it to Embiid himself, and you create two problems on the front. Now you create a problem between Embiid and Brett Brown, and then you create a problem between yourself and Embiid. So, come on, man, that was nutty. As an older player, as an older gentleman, you should understand that. There's older players, man, that get that. Like a Julius Erving, he's classy, man. Like a Magic Johnson, he's classy. He knows how to talk to someone, give them advice, especially if they ask for it. Usually guys need to ask for the advice. Just coming in and just talking shit, that a lot of times that stuff will just get you smacked, homie. For real. And that's what I say about that. Number two, he wasn't putting any blame on Brett Brown. Let me explain something about why it's Brett Brown's fault, more than it is Joel Embiid's fault. Sure, Joel Embiid is a player. He should want it, need to be accountable, this and that. But let me tell you something. Part of what a coach has to do is to be a teacher, because he has to teach his particular brand of basketball that he wants those players to play. And he has to help tweak certain things in the game of the players so that they'll be able to do what he's asking them to do. The problem with Brett Brown, and this is partly his fault and partly not his fault, is that he inherited a team that was a losing team, a team that was out there to lose on purpose. So over that period of time, over that 2-3 year period of time where they were just losing on purpose, what you built was a culture. And that culture was a losing culture. So right then, Joel Embiid comes in the midst of this losing culture, which is very laxed. It's this, it's that. There's not a lot of discipline there, because why would you instill discipline? Discipline just might cause y'all to win, which is against what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to tank for non-shooting Ben Simmons and all that kind of stuff, right? So Joel Embiid comes in the midst of that, and then he meets Brett Brown. His first impression of Brett Brown is what? He's laid back. He's cool. He's a friend. He befriends you. Like Joel Embiid actually described Brett Brown as a friend, right? Which Charles Barkley was right in saying that is not even really a good sign that a guy is your friend, especially in the beginning. Especially in the beginning, right? What a coach has to do like that, especially when you want to teach, is you need to be a hard ass and you need to be a guy that the players don't like in the beginning. Just be straight up with them. This is what I expect. I expect you to be here on time, every day, ready to work, working on your game, listening to what the fuck I'm telling you, studying your playbook, getting your plays down, ready to practice, all of that kind of stuff, right? Especially in the beginning. And then once you start getting some success, then start to lighten up and show your other side. You know what I mean? That's always the best way. We've had Andy Reid here with the Eagles, and that's what he was. When Andy Reid first came, Andy Reid was a sick-ass bull. Like, we had a player named George Hageman, I believe his name was. He said something disrespectful to Andy Reid, or he was like being disrespectful out there, laughing or something, joking when Andy Reid first came. Andy Reid had this ball push the sled. You know, the sled that the lineman push. He had him push that joint all the way 100 yards up and down. Twice, I heard. Right? Had him do that in front of everybody by himself. And then the next day, he cut that motherfucker. Woo! Like, yo, now that's something that can get you beat up. But just think about that. That's what he did. So the rest of the players who he plans on keeping are watching that, and they're like, yo, this boy's not playing. Right? You could be cut for real for acting in out of pocket any way he don't want you to act. So he set the tone. What Brett Brown needed to do was set the tone. And sometimes you got to set the tone hardest on the guys you expect the most from. Now, I'm going to tell you what he did wrong. Ever since Joel Embiid has been there, Brett Brown has done nothing but say, he's our crown jewel. He's our this, he's our that. He's, you called the guy your crown jewel. Why would you do that with a young ass player who has some immaturity problems, who needs to really fine tune his game to be great? Is that going to push him? Or is that going to make him think, I've already arrived? Just think about it. That's Brett Brown's fault. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be just treating people different clearly, right? We know players are different, but to just openly do that like that, it's not good coaching. It's not the good psychology part of the sport, and there's a psychology part of the job that you have to understand. And maybe because this is his first go around in the NBA, I know he coached in Australia, but his first go around in the NBA, that was not good. And then with Ben Simmons, not making sure he's shooting the ball from the jump. Like when you come in day one, okay, Ben, I need you to work on this right here, and I need you in these plays, I need you taking these shots, right? Because let me tell you something. That him not doing that from the beginning, it makes it easier for Ben to just never do it. And then if he's never doing it, and then this is what I'm saying, right? You get the report that Ben Simmons says that he needs somebody to hold him accountable, right? So being a nice guy, it don't help. Because when shit hits the fan and it gets tough, the players will turn on you. You being nice to them, then when shit get tough and people might start losing jobs and start getting cut and get traded, what they going to do? They going to turn around and say, there's no accountability here. We heard Josh Richardson say that. We heard Al Horford say that. We even heard Ben Simmons say it, right? So it don't pay. He messed that up from the beginning. So, for Bruce Bowen to come in here and act like, it's just all on the players, it's partly on the players, not all on the players. It really isn't. Because at the end of the day, who going to get fired? You. Because the players are out there playing, and they think somebody else can come in and do the job, right? So, there goes that. So, at any rate, when it comes to, coaches I would like to see, my first that I would like to see, which I don't think is realistic, is Greg Popovich. He's supposedly out there, but I'm hearing that Brooklyn is interested in Greg Popovich, and honestly, it should be about 20 teams interested in Greg Popovich. And if he has a choice between coaching Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I don't know. That's a tough one. He might want to go with those veteran guys where he doesn't have to do as much. But at the same time, he might feel he could get Embiid and Simmons to listen. I don't know. But that'll be my first choice. My second choice would be Jay Wright from Villanova, which I think is another one that's unrealistic because he has a nice, cushy situation he's in. I think he enjoys teaching college kids. He has a chance to be, up there in the Mount Rushmore college coaches, with the Woodens and the Krzyzewskis and the Dean Smiths and all those guys. If he continues the route he's going, so he's Villanova 2 championships, great program. Another guy I'm hearing is Ty Lue. I'm not sure about Ty Lue. I just don't even know if he can coach or not because when you coach LeBron James, everywhere LeBron goes, they win. And then as soon as LeBron leaves, the team is like, in the dumpsters. I mean, they're not even a team that's playing hard. Like, I don't expect Cleveland to win, but play hard. That's what you judge a coach's, effect on. That sort of thing. I'm hearing, like, a guy I would probably want is Jason Kidd, especially if you're going to keep Ben Simmons, because I think that's a guy that Ben could relate to, could probably get through to him. And he's also got old school in him, so he's going to make sure Embiid big ass on the block, grabbing the ball and scoring right there. So of the guys that I think are realistic, I would probably target Jason Kidd. And I know he didn't have the best time in Milwaukee, but, if you ask any of those players about Jason Kidd, they all have good things to say about him. Even Giannis, credit Jason Kidd the most for his player development, believe it or not, even though the team struggled. So I would think about Jason Kidd. Who else? And Mark Jackson. I don't know. Mark, I think, is a good coach, but he's kind of been away from the game a little bit. I wouldn't have a problem with Mark Jackson. I would be okay with that. I would prefer Mark probably over Ty Lue, actually. And then other guys out there, man, look, anybody listening here, throw some names at me, man. I'd like to see that, comment on it, what you think. But, yeah, here we're going on 12 minutes again here. So that's pretty much, man, what I got on that. Till next time, I'm out of here.